With a lot of talk about the Dallas Cowboys selecting a receiver early in the 2019 draft, one has to wonder how that would impact the current talent. There are already a couple of guys under contract who probably won't make the 2019 roster, so Wood could be additionally squeezed out if Dallas drafts another receiver. Currently, the Cowboys have 6 players who all have strong cases for roster spots. The 3 locks are Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and newly signed veteran Randall Cobb. They are your top 3 receivers for next season. Next are veterans Tavon Austin and Allen Hurns, who the Cowboys have elected to bring back. They resigned Austin to a 1-year contract and exercised a team option on Hurns' deal for 2019. Along with them is Noah Brown, a 2017 late-round pick in the 3rd year of his rookie deal. Brown is an intriguing player with strong blocking skills and special teams value, plus he's flashed some offensive ability in limited opportunities. We haven't even mentioned guys like Lance Lenoir or Cedric Wilson yet, but they will have to really stand out in training camp to force their way onto the roster now. And that's without the team adding any new talent in the 2019 draft. Dallas can keep as many WRs as they want, but needs across the roster generally make it so you can have no more than 6. If you draft a guy anywhere in rounds 2 to 5, that player will almost be guaranteed a roster spot in 2019. Who would lose in that exchange? Dallas Cowboys WR Allen Hurns. The axe would likely fall on either Noah Brown or Allen Hurns. We've already established the top 3 of Cooper, Gallup, and Cobb, plus Austin is your return specialist. That means either Brown or Hurns should become the odd man out. Hurns brings experience, having been a 1,000-yard receiver before in this league. But he also brings a larger contract and more cap savings if released. He also could miss a large part of the off-season program recovering from his major ankle injury in the playoffs. Brown is cheap with 2 years left on his rookie deal. He offers upside, but a newly drafted player would conceivably offer more. Dallas might rather give that newcomer the opportunities that Noah needs. There is a scenario where Dallas could keep 7 receivers. Because Brown's size and blocking ability, they could elect to keep him instead of a 4th tight end. What's more, there's a chance that both Hurns and Brown could be gone if Dallas drafts a significant receiver. That might try to get Brown to the practice squad and then dump Hurns for the cap savings. This time of year it's easy to get excited about the next wave of rookies, but someone typically loses on the other end. Sometimes it's a guy we've been excited about in the past, like a Noah Brown or Cedric Wilson. 2019 won't be any different. If Dallas drafts a WR with one of their earlier picks, somebody is going to lose their spot as a result. We'll find out if anyone's job is threatened in a few weeks. 2019 NFL Draft wide receiver. When discussing what the Dallas Cowboys need to address in the upcoming NFL Draft, the running back position comes up pretty often. Ezekiel Elliott's immense workload must be shared if the Cowboys want to ensure Zeke has a long career in the league. Taking a young running back late in the draft seems like the most likely way the front office will approach things. But why address this need in the draft instead of re-signing RB Rod Smith? Last year wasn't a productive one for Smith. He only had 44 rush attempts to rack up 127 yards. His participation was very limited as Ezekiel Elliott had over 300 attempts. Averaging only 2.9 yards per run doesn't make a great case for Smith, but if you look at 2017, he really showed his potential. As the Cowboys tried to do the best they could while Zeke was away due to a 6-game suspension, Smith managed to get 434 yards from scrimmage in the season and 5 total touchdowns. He made his case both as a runner and a receiver. FARB Rod Smith. Tim Heitman, USA Today Sports. So far, we haven't heard or seen anything that makes us believe the Cowboys are interested in bringing him back, but I wouldn't doubt for a second that he isn't liked by the coaching staff. After all, despite drafting Bo Scarborough last year and signing Darius Jackson, Smythe kept his job without a problem. Not only that, but to begin the season the Cowboys were actually confident in having only 2 running backs on the 53-man roster. That was an aggressive decision, and one that the staff probably made because they really trusted Rod Smith. On top of it all, Smith had an important role in special teams last season and he was good at it. That's something that you definitely want from a backup running back. Rod Smith has shown us that he can run, catch and contribute on special teams. I don't know about you, but I'd think twice about it before being convinced of drafting a running back in the middle rounds. I just don't think it's worth it. On the other hand, if we're talking about a 6th or 7th round pick, would the Cowboys really get an upgrade over Smith? Bo Scarborough wasn't. Rod Smith isn't a great player, but he's a solid number 2 and he has shown us some breakout moments, especially in 2017. He wouldn't be an expensive player to bring back and could pay off huge dividends down the road. The Dallas Cowboys draft class of 2016 is coming up a lot in talks regarding new contracts. Their 4-year rookie deals are ending this year and extensions are due if Dallas wants to keep these players. But while there's been plenty of discussion around offensive stars Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott, why is nobody talking about linebacker Jaylon Smith? Jaylon was taken in the 2nd round of the 2016 draft, 1 round after Elliott and 2 before Prescott. Last year he emerged as one of the team's top defensive players and has now formed a league-leading duo with linebacker with Leighton Vander Esch. The Cowboys certainly have no intention of letting Smith get away anytime soon. So then, why aren't we talking about a new contract for Jaylon the same way we are Dak and Zeke? It goes back to his rookie season. Smith suffered a severe knee injury in his final college game at Notre Dame and entered the NFL draft process with major uncertainty about his ability to play again. He dropped from being a potential top 5 pick that year to the Cowboys at the beginning of the 2nd round. Unable to participate in any on-field activities during his rehabilitation, Jaylon spent 2016 on the non-football injury list, even though Smith's injury did occur from football, but it was before he entered the NFL, so it is treated the same as any other outside injury. Due to the terms of the collective bargaining agreement, that year spent on the NFL cost Smith an accrued season. The CBA dictates that a player must have 4 accrued seasons to become an unrestricted free agent, which most guys drafted in 2016 will have when their rookie deals expire in 2020. Dallas Cowboys LB Jaylon Smith because he'll have just 3 accrued seasons from 2017 to 2019. Jaylon will only be a restricted free agent next year. That gives the Cowboys nearly all the power, and they likely intend to use it. The projected first-round RFA tender next year is around $4.7 million. If Smith keeps playing at his 2018 level, then that will make him an absolute steal in 2020. Some might think it a little cruel of the Cowboys to take advantage of this situation, but this is their reward for taking a chance on Jaylon 3 years ago. There's a chance he might have never returned to football, which would have wasted a 34th overall draft pick. Dallas took a significant risk. Also, remember that the Cowboys didn't have Jaylon at all in 2016. They knew what they were getting into and are getting 4 years of bargain play like any other team does with its rookies, just through a little different means. One other point, Dallas certainly would like to be sure about Smith's health before making a long-term commitment. It's gone very well so far, but this gives them 2019 and 2020 to get all the confidence they need for a potentially major contract extension. They don't want another Sean Lee situation. So in case you didn't understand, that's why we're not talking about Jaylon's contract just yet. Dallas has a special provision in 2020 that delays the conversation for a year, which is good with so much activity currently involving new deals for Prescott, Elliott, Amari Cooper, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Byron Jones. But in another year or 2, Jaylon Smith should be right there with them as one of the Cowboys' top players looking for a long-term contract. Maliek Collins is about to enter the 4th and final year of his rookie contract. The Cowboys' defensive tackle, taken in the third round of the 2016 draft, would love to be considered among Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, and Jalen Smith as major stars of that class. But he hasn't made it so far, and the team's makeup in 2019 could make things even more difficult. If he wants to remain a starter this season, Collins will have to compete with veteran Tyrone Crawford and emerging stud Antwaun Woods. He may also need to worry about newly signed Christian Covington from the Texans, who could blossom as a 4-3 DT as he converts from a 3-4 in Houston. If that wasn't enough, there is plenty of speculation that Dallas will spend one of its top 2 picks in this year's draft at defensive tackle. With the Cowboys now having DeMarcus Lawrence signed to a long-term deal and acquiring veteran Robert Quinn, it would seem that Tyrone Crawford will be fully dedicated to the DT position going forward. There is a strong possibility that Dallas will see Crawford and Antwaun Woods as their top 2 tackles. Of course, starter is a loose term when it comes to the Cowboys' defense. The heavy rotation that Rod Marinelli employs keeps everyone fairly busy. But for a guy like Maliek Collins, trying to position himself for free agency in 2020, being stuck in a timeshare isn't ideal. It's especially troubling if you're not getting the majority of the available snaps. With no years left on his contract, Collins may even be a target for a cap-saving move. Dallas could trade or release Maliek for an easy $2 million in cap space, which they might value more than the player by final cuts. Collins has been a solid player for his 3 years in Dallas, but circumstances in 2019 are not looking great. Hopefully he can wow the team in training camp this year and at least hold on to his roster spot, if not earning a significant role this season.